And I will quickly BRB, as I I did not have any water prepared.
Well, this is a reminder to everybody out there in the audience. You're gonna want to hydrate your hydras, especially if you're gonna be using your voice quite a bit. Do not pull a light there. Not sure if you could really call it pulling a light. It typically does have some water around. But yeah, we were just so hyped to get in today. Oreo versus James. And we just didn't really have that much time. And speaking of jumping on in, let's jump right onto it. Here we have in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand corner of Everdream, L-E, ideally, Edle. We're in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. We have who I would say is currently the top Zerg player in Korea, potentially the top Zerg player in the world. We'll see if he's been able to maintain his form. Representing Cosmos Esports, he got picked up. The Blue Zerg, all the way from the land of Korea, we have Solar, host of the solar panel.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Everdream LE, we have the Korean Protoss player representing generic Green Wings. It is SOS.
And now, our generic player, our only generic player tonight, Trap, unfortunately, you know, he's got his group, GSL group in 2 days, so probably doesn't want to reveal anything.
Yep, yeah.
But I imagine that he's watching over SOS right now, over his shoulder.
He may be. Maybe it's Trap's like, yes, now it's finally my turn. It's my turn to whisper in your ear. Yes. How do you like that? And SOS just like waves him away like he's.
It's just like, you cannot corrupt what is already been corrupted.
Yeah. You know who I am.
You think you're going to convince me to play Phoenixes? Well, he did go Mass Phoenix at the end of the game, so.
He did, yeah.
You think you're going to convince me to play defensive? Although his defensives have been on point today.
They have. SOS has been really impressive, and I'm curious to see how he does here against Solar, because I mentioned it earlier, we've seen him against a lot of Zerg players today.
Literally only played against Zerg players.
Literally. So, you know, things have been escalating bit by bit, right? You know, Oreo, then Armani, now it is Solar's turn. What is Solar going to do here?
Get pylon blocked.
Yeah.
Like the rest of them.
Oh boy.
Are we gonna have everything play out once again? I mean, we're on Everdream.
SOS is like...
The next map is gonna be Submarine. Thankfully, this is a best of 5, so yeah, it's not gonna be... We're at least gonna get another map.
You see Solar facing... You see Solar facing off with SOS, and SOS is like... You're just like the rest of them. you're nothing special. Like,
oh, you're on a new team now. Is that supposed to mean something to me?
Oh god. Speaking of, I mean, this is interesting. Not a Stargate opener this time from SOS.
Yeah, I mean, taking a page out of Zest's handbook earlier on. Let's see if he can, you know, really get into the mind of Solar here.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Solar, he is a little more I mean, to be fair, a lot of Zerg players are experienced with this build, so we'll see how Solar chooses to defend against this. Again, like, because he was forced to take that third base location as is natural, he needs to try and spread his creep as best he can to connect all his bases before this happens. He needs to make sure he gets his roaches out in time. Are we going to see maybe some static defense, maybe some spines thrown down? We'll see as, yeah, SOS is getting ready.
Indeed he is. Workers are already out looking to transport a couple of adepts. Or just have them go across the map. There's an opening right now. That wall is not a wall, but the Zerglings do get chased away by the adepts.
Yeah, the wall is now a wall. Stalker's in position, shield battery behind it as well, so SOS defensively should be okay, as long as there aren't too many links coming in, and yeah, the War Prism is pushing out across the map, the Adepts are being warped in, and ooh, there is a slight difference though, compared to Zest, is there is a Robo-Bait. Robotic facility.
Interesting. Wait, no. You mean SOS is making use of this robotics facility?
Yeah, like last time there were no Immortals coming out for Zest, like he only utilized it.
Prism and a Observer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it looks like SOS is going to be building up into that Soul Train push, so he's not going to be committing to this Adept Printer, as it is just going to be how he opens up. He will be transitioning to something a little different.
Yeah, and I love what Solar has done. He opted not to go straight away into Roaches, instead mass slings, and he has a Spine, and I love the way that we see Zerg players use Spines against this kind of opener.
Absolutely. You really do have to rally around them, though, as it takes a little bit of time. Oh, nicely done by SOS!
Wow!
Taking a page out of Max Goddamn Angel's book. Was able to get that...
yeah, I didn't even notice that he had a
There's another one.
Yeah, I didn't even notice he had a sentry with his army, so Solar, he's completely locked out of his own main base.
This
All
is
these
drones
are trapped.
Indeed, they are. And seven drones go down, and there's a recall. SOS has got to be thanking Estrella right now.
Oh my god, SOS, we were talking about it, right? Like, how does SOS differ from a player like Zest? And there we have it, going for that nice sentry micro. Yeah, like, that was beautiful.
And now the Soul Train is ready.
Yeah, the 1-2 punch. I mean, he does get spotted. It is important that Solar sent out those scouting links, so Solar is aware that Immortals are on the way, and Roaches have already been prepared in response.
Man, honestly, this is a pretty good location for Solar to fight in. I'm not sure about the Spine placement. I'm thinking maybe it could be a little bit further ahead, but at the same time, you risk exposing it. So, yeah, Solar is very defensive right now, as he should be.
Yeah, definitely, and at the moment, you know, SOS, he's just testing the waters. He's trying to see what there is for his opponents, you know, where is the best place to engage, and yeah, here outside the third base is a good one as any.
It really is. There's only one Spine Crawler here for Solar, and it can't be at two places at once.
Exactly, and again, like, especially outside that third base, like, force fields are so good for the Protoss player, like, to be able to wall off your opponents.
Indeed it is. Alright, setting up a multi-prong there, and okay, that Spine Crawler kind of defeated the purpose there.
Yeah, and he committed.
He did, in fact, commit. And he's drawing the entire army away, because here comes the main army into the third base. Could potentially get this base, as well as the Roach Warren. Nice using force fields here, forcing it all into that choke point. But pretty good vials being thrown down.
Yeah, the vials are on point, and without them, the third base would have fallen. So nicely done here by Solar, able to push the army away. It looks like only one sentry remains, so not many force fields remaining.
Yeah, but you could say the same thing about Solar's army. Not a lot that's really left, and so long as this War Prism stays alive, so SOS can really just continue to apply pressure here, and really, if he can just take out 1 or 2 units while keeping his own alive, he's eventually going to be unstoppable.
Yeah, he started to snowball, and it was such a shame. Like, 1 or 2 more vials and that War Prism would have gone down, but it stayed alive. There weren't enough Ravagers, and nicely
much
done,
damage there. Yeah, too much of a snowball effect. GG is called. SOS. Gonna take game number 1.
GG again. SOS showing his dominance in this matchup, and Solar, you mentioned it. He's one of the best Zerg players in the world, and we'll see if he's able to stop in any way SOS. Like, damn.
Damn.
Like, that was
SOS
really
is just sort of cracking his neck right now. Like, oh, another warm-up. Golden Wall! Bit of a different map being thrown down here.
Oh, yeah, the first time we're seeing this map.
Yeah, is it strange to you, Light, that we haven't seen... Well, okay, we specifically haven't seen Eternal Empire or Death Aura
I mean, this could be the nature of SOS. Like, those could be his veto.
I feel like that's what it is.
Hmm.
And again, we only casted one game off Zest versus DRG, so, you know, Everdream is a pretty popular map in general, so we'll have to imagine that they probably didn't do that a bunch of different times. But speaking of a bunch of different times, we are now in the Golden Wall, LE. The wall held up by the Pillars of Gold, and it all works together to protect the Eternal Empire, where under the Eternal Empire, you have the LE submarine. It's submerged. In the left-hand corner of the map, spawning in the left-hand corner of the map, we do in fact have a blue Zerg player coming out now all the way from the land of Korea. I believe that he is currently the top Korean Zerg player, potentially the top Zerg player in the world right now. But he's getting a little bit of trouble coming out from our cheeky Protoss player. Can he turn it around? He is representing Cosmos Esports. Give it up for Solar.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Golden Wall LE, we have the Korean Protoss player representing Jinair Green Wings. He is SOS.
Otherwise known as
Indeed. And something that we didn't really get to talk about, but of course I love to whenever I get the chance, is Solar's new team.
Yeah, Cosmos Esports. I mean, they let go of Control, which is a bit of a shame. I think that's yeah, that was more of Control resigning from the team, I think. Because obviously he's starting to go into the military, but on the bright side, they were able to pick up Solar, who had a bit of a rough couple of weeks. What was he, after Triumphant Song Gaming disbanded?
Yeah, definitely. Like after Solar or after TSG disbanded, it's rough because there aren't too many teams that are actively picking up players, and it was really nice of Cosmos. Yeah, it was really nice of Cosmos to, you know, do something that they've already done, you know, with Special, and like get a temporary contract for a player just to support them, just to make sure that they have that so that they can continue their pro gamer career. So it's really nice.
At least until,
you know,
yeah, at least until they can sort of find a different team. Cosmos, just based on their actions, I feel like they do intend to be that sort of safety net kind of team.
Yeah,
because they don't really have a lot of permanent members, do they?
Well, they have a decent amount, especially when it comes to Latin America and North America.
Yeah, is Kellisar in Cosmos?
No, that's Archangel Gaming.
Right.
They have Eggs, they have Pili Pili, they recently picked up Patty Mac as well.
Yeah, they do kind of want to focus more on sort of America's sort of region.
Yeah, and if you recall, they've
you know, picked up Special and whatnot.
Yeah, and if you recall, they did also pick up Miyamika before he himself stepped away, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really cool that Cosmos are investing, and they genuinely want to just help out the scene as much as they can and help out the players. They're also big fans of this channel. Very often, the owner of Cosmos, he tunes in for Battle of the Americas.
Yeah, gotta support his boys.
You know? Yeah, pretty much. He's always there cheering for his Cosmos boys. So we really appreciate it. And yeah, we you know, we wish the best for their team, as obviously like their priority is to support StarCraft, not necessarily to, like, you know,
win a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've got some like I'm sure they've got some like good viewership though. Sponsors.
Oh, yeah, more than anything, they've got like a lot of goodwill with the community as well. Like, just because of how much they're doing. I'm sure like they're aiming to be something like the next Chivo, you know, like.
Not along here. Nodding along. Alright, so we do see similar openings coming out from both players this game. A little bit surprised that Solar didn't go for that gold base, but if there was ever a player who did not go for the gold base, Solar would be the one. Oh, look at this! Oh. Like, catches off these adepts, and more importantly, sees that they're coming along. He is not aware of this Dark Shrine though. SOS getting it much quicker this time.
Yeah, we were talking about it. There are these other Dark Shrine variants that do get the Dark Shrine a lot faster, and yeah, we may see that come into play. It did delay the War Prism, so the War Prism came out a little bit later. But yeah, on a map like Golden Wall, like, oh god, there's a lot of potential for something like DTs.
There is. I'm looking at this Warp Prism go behind the wall light.
Yeah,
it's going south side. Where's it gonna set up? I think we
God.
all know the answer.
Yeah. And to be fair, this time Solar, he already has a decent amount of roaches. Like, at the front, he's looking pretty good, but what does he have here in the main base?
Well, but he does see the Warp Prism, or at least it's within vision. I think SOS might have shot his load a little bit too quick.
Yeah, maybe something that's now he's making a spore as well. I was about to say there's no detection, there's no lair. Like, spores are the only thing that Solar can rely on to defend against DTs.
Indeed. But yeah, we are gonna have to see if SOS is gonna commit to those ZTs. And to be fair, it's not, you know, if he turned them immediately into Archons, that would also be a really good move, right? Arguably the better move. So,
yeah, we'll see. Like, honestly, I do think that the DTs would be amazing at the moment to attack bases that don't have any spores. But now Solar, enough time has passed, he's starting to get spores at each of his bases.
that he is. Alright, DT is going to be thrown down. And so it's just going to be looking to see if there's anything vulnerable that he can get, anything that's without detection. Fortunately, that's not quite the case. He does! Tries to get a bit of body block with those DTs, but doesn't quite work out. We see him now frantically trying to juggle. But again, that's not really working out too well. This area actually does not have any detection in it. This ramp, I should say. So these DTs, they're blocking these units, and they are killing them.
Yeah, they were kind of operating as almost like a force field, really. They're on the ramp, and they got a lot of damage done, but in the end, it does seem like Solar has just enough to push it away. He bought enough time. He has a lair. He's getting an overseer as well, so he will have detection.
Yeah, and I like what SOS is doing, right? Just trying to find these sort of angles where there isn't any detection to just sort of shave off the army count of Solar.
Yeah, and again, like, we do see that DTs are pretty versatile. You can, once detection is out, you can turn them into Archons and continue to deal more damage. Ooh, behind this, SOS is taking that gold base.
He is. And I suppose if there was ever a player to take that gold base, it would be SOS. But look at that! Already the Lings are looking to cause it a lot of trouble. I'm not convinced that SOS has what he needs to defend this. Eventually he's going to clear out the Lings, but actually Solar not committing to the base.
Oh, yeah,
so
but
SOS
he did manage to... Yeah, he did manage to kill a sentry, though, which was nicely done there by Solar. Sentries are so valuable, especially in this early and mid-game. And, oh, the Lings are trying to sneak in. Oh, not too, though.
Yeah, will get chased away here. So we're reaching that sort of middle of the game, and I don't mean the mid-game, I mean literally the middle of the game, where neither player really has anything to push out with.
Yeah, both players are kind of being defensive. Yeah, the Archons are still continuing to try and find damage, keeping the army of Solar at home. Meanwhile, Solar, I do kind of want to give him a little bit of an advantage. He is getting that third base up and running. There's a little bit of a Ling run by Solar. I think he does get a little bit of a scout into the natural. Ooh, he gets into the main as well.
And that he does, and does confirm that there's not a lot of defensive structures here, Light. The Mutalisks are about to pop out.
Yeah, these Mutalisks can deal a lot of damage. They can shut down.
Look at that. Oh, quick reaction right at the last second. Will it go down? SOS, you gotta drop low, buddy. And does drop the Archons, but now without those, without that Warp Prism to micro, there's not a whole lot that SOS can really do other than just sort of take this position.
Yeah, it feels like SOS doesn't really have much at all here. Like, the Archon is like the only real anti-air as well, so the Mutalisks could dive on the army. Ooh, nice force fields though.
Yeah, that's definitely the first step, but SOS did decide to commit to that instead of retreating. And I feel like he just gave Solar a little bit too much ground here. Solar has so much momentum coming behind him. He has twice the army supply. And again,
Yeah.
where are the anti-air defenses here for SOS?
Yeah, we have Solar trying to push into the third base. There is force field energy, but again, there looks like there's enough Ravagers here to deal with the force fields. All the sentries are going to be going down. Only one remaining. Overcharge is used, but the shield battery gets taken out, and Solar, it looks like the Zerg player will be fighting back against SOS.
I believe we are about to get into a sideways 1-1 here. GG's called. Solar tying up that series.
Phew. All right. I'm not gonna lie, based on the track record of SOS, I was a little bit worried that this was gonna be a bit one-sided, but Solar ties it up.
That he does. Solar OS.
What?
And that's what. Because I also see the S and the O, and I'm like, ah yes, SO. No, wait, that's Solar. And I'm like, ah yes, Sol. No, wait, that's SOS.
Yeah. We're just setting up, and just need to make sure everyone gets in here.
Our players are eager.
Yeah.
But we don't quite have everyone in just yet. Do we now? It seems like we do.
Yep. Renegade was the last to join, and I think
nice.
Here.
Well, I mean, Stats hasn't joined yet, so.
That's true.
Can you really say that we're all in here?
And we're finally getting a little bit of variety here. It's not going to be Everdream. It's not going to be Submarine.
It is going to be Death Horror. We didn't have Everdream as a first map, right? I'm not misremembering that.
It was the first map, right? Yeah, it was.
Oh, was it the second map? Wait, what map are we on?
We're map 3.
Right. Sideways 1-1. And we're going to be spawning in a tiebreaker, but not windbreaker yet. It is going to be Death Aura LE. We're in the top left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top left-hand corner of the map. We have our blues coming out all the way from the land of Korea. He is representing Cosmos Esports. Everybody give it up for the host himself, Solar. Panel.
And in the bottom right-hand corner of Death Aura LE, we have the Korean Protoss player representing Jin-Air Green Wings. It is SOS.
I'm waiting all my life to see this map light. Oh wait, all evening.
All evening. Yeah, like there's this map, there's Pillars of Gold, which we haven't had quite yet. Haven't had much of Ice and Chrome. We did have one game on that. But yeah, I approve of this variety that we're finally starting to get.
Indeed. And I mean, seeing Submarine after a lot of series that have it instantly vetoed, it was a little bit of a refresher, but yeah, we had 2 games in them that ended in about 5 minutes, so.
Yeah, they were very quick. Then we got into a lot of Everdream. A lot.
We did.
Oh boy.
It's in the name. The dream is ever. You can't escape it.
Never ending.
Some might say it's eternal. It's like an empire.
Some would say, yeah. I would say that's a different map that I would also like to see. We haven't seen it yet. Yeah, so far so standard. We have Solar expanding again. His natural was denied, so gets it at the third base location. Meanwhile, SOS, it's gonna come down to, are we gonna see a Twilight Council opener or a Stargate opener?
Well, yeah, he really does have quite a number of options. I want to say that Stargate is a little bit more common on Death Aura than Twilight Council is, but you can really go either way.
Yeah. Really curious to see how this plays out. So far, no tech structures, only a couple more gateway units, which I do approve of. I do feel like this is a little bit safer. Often we see players be quite greedy and only go like a single gateway, step next core, then their tech, and that leaves them very vulnerable to early aggression and early all-ins. I see what's happening.
Yeah. It's poor probe, and now it even has to go around. Hey, it's going the right way. Nice.
There we go. All is right in the world, and yeah, there we have it. We have a Twilight Council on the way.
Mm-hmm. Generally, what do you see after more gateways get thrown down? So yeah, SOS, he's a bit of a deviant, but he's not that devious.
Yeah, not here anyway. Not on Death Aura, and yeah, we'll see. You know, decent amount of adepts coming out. We've seen different variants of this. We've seen Zest do it. We've seen SOS do it. We're gonna see them glaives. Ooh, Stargate.
Never mind, double Stargate on top of that.
I love it.
Just when I said that he wasn't gonna go off script.
He's all yo. You know who you're talking about? You're talking about SOS, mate. He went Twilight Council. He's not even getting an upgrade. It's a fake out.
And this is more than likely just to force the Roach Horn to come out.
Yeah.
Because what a Roach is gonna do against Phoenix is not a whole lot.
Nothing. They can't shoot up.
Exactly, but Ravagers can. Alright, this Overlord does go into the base anyway.
Oh, is it going to be denied though?
It's not really going yeah, it's not really going to the right location. Oh, the Stalker actually hurting it to the double Stargates. And Solar does scout this out. And now this is when SOS decides, okay, you know what? Time to go into the Twilight Council upgrades.
I'm really curious because purposely he wasn't making anything from those Stargates, waiting for that Overlord to die before he committed to anything, because we were talking about this earlier. Last time he went double Stargate, he went for Mass Phoenixes. Now
it's gonna be Mass Oracle.
Yeah.
And with Glaive behind that, this is the most anti-Zergling army that you could possibly perceive of. You know, maybe if there were some Archons and some Storms in the mix, that'd be even more so. Yeah,
and what I love about this from SOS is that this is very like methodical, very smart thing to do. This is what me and Micah would do, where he gets scouted, but he doesn't commit to anything yet. He makes sure he waits for his opponent to think he's doing something, and then he goes for something else. And yeah, as Solar, he has no idea whether it's Phoenixes or whether it's Oracles, and whether there's anything researching for the Twilight Council.
Turns out it's gonna be all of the above.
Exactly.
And here comes the multi-prong. Oracle coming into this base. I think thought I saw a Spore Crawler. Yep, there it is. But the Oracles do dive in regardless, just try to get whatever they can get done. Does scout this Hydralisk then. So probably not going to be committing too much to the Sky Army. Going to focus more on the Adepts and the Immortals, if I had to guess.
I would think so. I'm not too sure if he committed, and he did, and SOS did end up finishing one of those Phoenixes. And yeah, I'd be surprised if he makes more Stargate units, especially because of that Hydralisk then already on the way. Instead, we do have SOS committing to those glaives, throwing down a Robo.
Indeed, he does. So should be going into a more standard Soul Train push shortly, but that will still take a bit of time, and there's also a lot of variation you can go with that. So far, it seems like SOS does want to commit to this mass, or this adept-heavy composition, which is an interesting way to play that push. We do now see a Robo-Bay being thrown down.
Yeah, and again, as we've seen previously, this could be for Disruptors, or Colossus. Either one would be, would be quite nice against Hydras. I do think that the ideal, what you want ideally against like Hydras in this kind of composition is probably Storm, but you know, regardless, AoE of some kind will do well against what Solar has.
Exactly. Personally, I'm a fan of Storm Zealot versus Hydras.
Yeah, it can do quite well, and you know, so far SOS, he's kept his Oracles alive despite being on low health, which is quite nice. And here we go, Solar is getting ready to push out, making nothing but roaches in the production tab.
That he is, and we're gonna have to see how on point SOS's defenses are gonna be. Are they gonna be similar to what he's shown us today? Because right now, Solar is standing outside of SOS's bases with twice the army supply. Over twice, I should say.
He does have 3 shield batteries here, and he does have double road production. Oh, but he's supply blocked. He's making 4 pylons right now.
Yeah, and the battery overcharge does help, but the biles are so do manage to land on a lot of these units. You know, we do see a couple of links really threatening the natural base, while the main army is wreaking havoc in the third.
Yeah, the war was not a war. The Lings get into the main base, and there's just not enough army here.
It's pylon. No, okay, one disruptor is gonna come out, and one purification nova. No splits there. It was actually really good. Yeah, there was some really good novas coming out. But at the end of the day, Solar can afford to lose all those units. Look at the supply difference, and look at the main base.
30 probes have gone down, and even though there are a couple of disruptors for SOS, like, there's just not enough.
Solar gonna be taking game number 3, taking him up to match point.
GG. And I love how Solar played that out. He didn't give SOS enough time, because again, the problem with what SOS was doing was he was throwing down all these tech structures. He was trying to be, you know, creative and cheeky, and what that means is that, like, that's a lot of money being invested in that, and it takes a lot of time to finally get things underway when you're switching so often between different things. And because of that, Solar, he went for this incredibly aggressive push and almost an all-in, right? Like, he cut drone production, he made nothing but units, and he just pushed out, and that was just the right moment to do so.
Exactly. I feel like if you waited even just a minute longer, which, okay, to be fair, a minute is quite some time, but if you waited any longer, SOS would have had, you know, his disruptors out, he would have had more shield batteries or and whatnot. Would have been a pretty good hold.
100%. Like, he would have had his disruptors. He wouldn't have been supply blocked, which that was the big thing. When that fight was happening, he was maxed out. It was like 117 out of 117, and he was making 4 pylons. It was like, oh no. He just couldn't warp in anything, and the disruptors couldn't start. They were stuck in the production because there was just no supply.
Nodding along in agreement there. We're going on to our next map, and we were asking for it, Light. And as they say, you shall receive. Here we are now on Eternal Empire, Ile. We're in the top right hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top right hand corner of the map. We do in fact have a Blues coming out all the way from the land of Korea. He is going to be representing Cosmos Esports, as well as Cosmos Esports. He is Solar, the host of the panel.
Did you say as well and then realize you didn't have anything else to say?
No comment.
I've been there before, except with countries. We're spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Eternal Empire LE. We have the Korean Protoss player representing Jin Air Green Wings. It is SOS.
And we finally get to see it, Light, and it's funny, it's just funny to say that, isn't it? Eternal Empire, the map we basically see every series. Usually it's, in fact a lot of times, it's these players' first or second choice. We're seeing it for the first time tonight, and I don't know, we see it so often that it's kind of weird that, you know, that we're missing it.
Yeah, this is what happens when you follow La Cucaracha, right? You follow SOS. It's a rarity, and if this was the best of 3, we wouldn't have seen it.
Oh, I think my game just crashed.
Nope,
I'm back.
Game paused.
Okay, we're not refs. Okay. We'll see. Unfortunately, they can't see what.
Yeah, none of us are refs.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate reality of it. But I do think that if you do lag out again,
yeah, I'm gonna have to tap right on out. Yeah, so is the overlords, man.
Oh, yeah. Cross your Ethernet cables. Make sure that doesn't happen again.
That's not a plot.
But I have no idea.
Yeah, does that apply to game freezes?
We'll see. We'll see. As yeah. So far the game is just getting underway. Nothing too crazy at the moment. Nothing at all quite yet. Pretty standard from both players. Again, I'm just kind of looking at Solar. Looking at SOS. Like,
I'm looking at both of them.
yeah, we've seen him throw down quite a lot of different things, but on a map like Eternal Empire, where it's a little more macro focused, a little more macro centric, like SOS, I feel like he's gonna have to play a little bit more straight up.
Yeah, definitely. Well, how flexible is straight up to you, like? Because there are different ways that SOS could play this out. I mean, he will still have to, you know, follow a certain metric, right? Get to a certain amount of bases, get to a certain amount of workers and whatnot. But I feel like SOS, he does have a couple of options here because Eternal Empire, because of how safe you can be on Eternal Empire.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see how this progresses. As you know, so far, Solar, he gets in with a Ling, he spots everything he needs to see. He sees the Twilight Council, sees a couple of the gateways, so he's aware of the opener from SOS. Again, I'm just curious to see what SOS does. Like, is he going to throw down the Dark Shrine after this? Is he going to commit to Adepts like Zest does? And oh my god, this.
I think the real question is Solar going to commit to this Ling run by, and he does not.
Yeah, nicely done there by Solar. You know, he finds an opportunity there, kills the Stalker, gets out.
Yeah. Little things like that, which, you know, it's not that much damage, but just keeping your units alive is not something you want to underestimate.
Yeah, definitely. And here we go, like, forces a recall as well.
Yeah, it does actually force that recall, and does also sort of signal to SOS, hey, I've got a lot of Lings. So SOS is probably going to be on the defensive right now. You have to wonder if Soul's going to commit to this.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, again, that wall isn't incredibly vulnerable. There is a shield battery on the way, and SOS is just sending out a couple of adepts, trying to scout out, see like the lair timing, see what is going on, the gases as well. It's important to keep track of, to try and figure out what your opponent's doing. Yeah, he just does see that Solar, he's playing this pretty straight up. You know, it has minimal gases. I don't know if that's a tell. We'll see, but okay, SOS is pushing out, and does he have a Warp Prism? Does he not?
No, he does not. The Robo facility is still underway.
Interesting. Okay.
Alright, so yeah, SOS is really starting to apply just a little bit of pressure right now, just keeping Solar back as much as he can. Notice that he can't really defend too much if Solar decides to push out immediately, like right on the dot. So he's just buying himself some time.
Yeah, he's buying himself some time. The War Prism is coming out. There is a Dark Shrine behind this. So, I've seen this before from SOS. You know, can he finally make this work? I don't know. I mean, to be fair, once again, no lair, no spores, no detection. DTs could deal some damage, but it's taking quite some time for them to come out.
Yeah. But I think that Solar does have a little bit of an inkling that's coming on its way. Lair is just about started up, so we should be able to have some okay, won't quite get the Overseer before the DT Shrine finishes up, or the Dark Shrine finishes up, but yeah, so long as he's good with his body blocking, he shouldn't be losing too much to get that.
I'm just really curious to see if SOS does something similar, where he tries to block off the ramp with him, and all he commits is Shade.
Maybe he doesn't need to, as this is a lot of adepts, but they did get, or Solar I should say, did get a lot of good surface area on top of these. He is starting to bleed them out, SOS is. But he did take out a lot of Lings behind that, and now we're starting to see him play a little bit like Zest, just trying to multi-prong as best as he can, just really picking Solar's army apart here.
Yeah, he trades incredibly well against these Lings, and here we go. The DTs are finally out immediately. An Overseer starts for for Solar. But until then, these DTs are going to deal a little bit of damage.
Yeah, and I like that SOS is splitting them up as well, guys. There can only be one place for an overseer to be at a time.
Yeah, but in the end, it looks like Solar, he cleans up. Like, everything goes down. There are a couple of DTs left in the War Prism. Looks like he's trying to hit that third base, but...
And now, I just want to tell you right now, like, look at the army supply difference.
Yeah, Solar, he's been on the defensive. He's been able to hold on quite well, and as we can see, SOS, he hasn't dealt enough damage.
No, he has not. 22 drones did go down this game so far. But I mean, Solar, he's already even in that worker count.
And again, SOS, he hasn't started his third base quite yet. It looks like he's trying to position himself to do it, but the Lings are here to try and stop that from happening.
But they do get chased away. Solar focusing a bit more on this Warp Prism, just does not want to lose any more workers to this.
Yeah, and more importantly, like at the moment, SOS, all he wants to do is buy time. Like he's out here with this War Prism, with this Archon, and he's just keeping the army busy. As behind this, he's working on his third base, he's working on disruptors, all of his upgrades as well. We see Blink on the way. Like SOS, he's trying his best to try and transition into the mid game.
Exactly. I mean, like you were saying, SOS is trying to buy time, and I feel like he's succeeding so well right now.
Yeah.
Like, we saw that supply difference go from massive to not that much.
Yeah, and it's also always important to know, like, defender's advantage, right? Like, now, with the supplies so much closer, like, if Solar were to push out, you know, with shield battery overcharge as well, it's not so clear-cut.
Exactly. That's a little bit of contamination there, just preventing Blink from going down. And Solar, he has sort of decided, my window to push out is gone. I'm just gonna focus on macroing up right now, which I do like a lot, getting that Spire as well as that fourth base out.
Yeah, he's macroing and he's getting that like hidden Spire that could catch SOS off guard. To be fair, he is working on Blink, so you know Blink Stalkers do decently well, but he does have to be careful about protecting his bases.
That he does. He has to be careful about protecting his units. That was a juicy Nova. And will this be another one? A couple of drones go down to that Disruptor.
Yeah.
And
so far, this Disruptor harass was nice. He has to be a little bit careful though, because the mutas are coming out and they could try and hunt down that War Prism.
Oh, that's going to be their priority number one. They're not going to do anything until they can get rid of that Warp Prism. But, I mean, SOS does have Warp Prism speed though, which definitely helps out a lot, especially versus Mutalisks.
Yeah, definitely, and oh my god, the
Archon doesn't really help against this.
Yeah, SOS not in the best position. He does lose quite a bit, and I don't think the Mutalisks have been revealed quite yet, so he's still unaware of them. They are on the way.
Yeah, I did not quite see that Spire. Navigation Nova does a pretty good job of zoning. Now SOS sees the Mutas. But again, Warp Prism speed, being able to retreat behind these Stalkers. SOS should be fine to maintain this position, but Solar's going across the map with these Mutas, and again, there's just not a lot of anti-air defenses for SOS.
Yeah, as soon as he spotted them, he started making these cannons at home, but they're not quite done just yet. The shield batteries are going to run out of energy as well, so these Mutalisks are just wreaking havoc across the map. Meanwhile, SOS, this is his cue to just go in and try to end the game.
Like so.
Does kill that fourth base, which is a nice start, but he has to commit even further. He's going into the third base. Meanwhile, the Mutalisks are trying to come in from behind as well to try and catch this. Oh, sorry, they do meet up with the main army, actually. Oh.
No, there's still a couple of Mutalisks here.
Yeah.
Those Mutalisks were fresh. Yeah, Solar just trying to see if he can pick something off, something that's exposed, but SOS doing a fairly good job of keeping his Stalkers in position. I say that, but the Warp Prism does go down, and now it's really do or die for SOS.
Yeah, and that was a nice disruptor shot. All the Ravagers go down, but are they even necessary? The Roach Muta trying to push in. Is there enough there from SOS?
SOS has enough here. Yeah, I think he's barely done it. GG. SOS once more going to be tying up the series, giving us that ace match.
Yeah, and honestly, that was really close. Like, SOS, he played that beautifully. Like, he forced. Sorry, Soul, like, Soul. Okay, all right, I gotta calm down.
Calm yourself.
A lot is happening. They both got S's in their name.
Yeah.
But SOS was forced in a position where he was all in, essentially. Like, he lost everything at his third base. Like, the Mulas completely caught him off guard. And he even lost the War Prism. But despite that, like, the ground army was just so good for SOS.
Indeed, it was. That really goes to show how, you know, how, I guess, just how powerful Blink Stalkers in the right hands can really be. I mean, they are a very versatile unit right off the bat,
yeah,
but yeah.
Definitely, and it's interesting because I feel like Solar, like, that game went the way that he wanted it to. Like, he kind of dictated the pace of the game, but despite that, like, SOS's unit control was good enough. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but, like, even towards the very end, like, the disruptor shots were very on point. Like, he was getting, like, decent value out of them.
Yeah, I mean, not the juiciest connections, but still, getting a couple units here and there. That can really start to stack up, and alright, here we are now on our next map. It will be the Pillars of Gold that hold up the Golden Wall that protects the Eternal Empire, where the LE submarines are kept. Here we have, in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we do in fact have Blues coming out all the way from the land of Korea. He is representing Cosmos Esports, as well as the host of his own talk show, the panel. We have Solar.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Pillars of Gold LE, we have the Korean Protoss player representing generic Green Wings. It is SOS.
So afraid to click on stuff now, Light.
I know. It is a bit noticeable, but, you know, hopefully, like, everything's okay. You know, like, everything's stable. You know, don't accidentally, like, kick a cord or something, and then something goes horribly wrong. But yeah, we are here. We are here in the ace match. This is the final game of this series. Then we'll be heading over to the other semifinals, and yeah, I'm really curious to see how this. Yeah, how this plays out again. Solar, he's been looking pretty solid, but SOS, like, it's, you know, kind of hit and miss with his aggression, but you know, like, he's still been able to make it work. Can Solar, what's important really is, can Solar stop the PvP finals from happening?
We're gonna have a lot of those coming out if Solar doesn't end this year, or doesn't win this year.
It's on Solar right now to end this reign from SOS and the PvPs. We'll see, as so far nothing too crazy, and I really appreciate that we finally get to see Golden Wall. I mean, Pillars of Gold.
Yeah, I don't think we're missing any maps now today anymore. Like, I believe we've got all of them, even if some of them were pretty brief.
Yeah.
Hey, get some variety coming out here. I do worry a little bit for SOS here. I think there is a reason why Pillars of Gold was the final pick, as in my opinion, Pillars of Gold is a pretty Zerg favorite map. It has a very short rush distance for one. It's got some, like, wide open things for another.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting map, to say the least. There are a lot of, like, rocks as well, and a lot of high and low ground locations where, like, doesn't affect this matchup, but there's, like, a lot of good siege tank positions as well. But yeah, we'll see, as, you know, something that completely bypasses all of that is this Stargate opener that SOS is going for.
Indeed, he does. Will he get a second one? That's a Twilight Council.
Ooh. Interesting.
Alright, so yeah, keeping his options open, being a bit more versatile, like he did in the previous game. But is he just diluting the power of just picking one or the other? That is to be seen, to be proven.
Yeah, this is...
Or disproven.
this is odd to say the least, because he's only committing to a single Oracle. There's no other Phoenix, there's no other follow-up Oracle, and that's because he spent his resources on that Twilight Council. So, oh, and there's no Spore here.
Yeah, so it's just going to be jumping straight on it. There are a couple of queens that SOS really can't afford to fight.
Yeah, and so far so good. 4 workers go down, and the Oracle does bounce out. Meanwhile, the Overlord does go in, does scout everything in the main base, so he is aware of the opening, is aware of the Stargate and the Twilight Council. Oh, interesting. So yeah, these Adepts are trying to deal some damage, and I don't know if you noticed that, but when the Overlord went in, SOS started a Phoenix, and then when the Overlord died, he canceled
it. Yeah, just making just keeping Solar on his toes a little bit there, making him wonder: is he going for what is he truly going for? Because again, he has both these options: the Stargate and the Twilight Council.
Yeah, and at the same time, we'll see if Solar can maybe call his bluff. As so far, no anti-air has been turned down, like no Hydra stand or anything like that.
That's 10 roaches on the way.
Yeah.
Either that or Solar, we've seen him do this on this map before. He's decided, you know, I can't really contest with what you've got in the air. I'm just gonna get a bunch of roaches and march across the map and try to end it.
Yeah, and this could be hurting SOS at the moment, because SOS may have been banking on Solar being a little bit more defensive against the air units. So there are already all these roaches out on the map. The Adepts, they do get into the main base.
Yeah, but they're also starting to get taken out.
As we see more and more of these Adepts do get cleaned up, with minimal drone losses here for SOS, and there's no reinforcing war prison, it seems like. So these Adepts are just running across the map, and they're trying to find some more damage, but they're struggling.
They really are. I mean, they're still alive over here in the third base, but yeah, now they've been cleaned out. Solar going straight for the throat right now.
Yeah, we do see the supplies already in favor of Solar. A lot of that does have to do with the amount of roaches that he has, but oh no, SOS is trying to get a third base. He's gonna have to force a cancel on that.
He does. This is going to be cancel. No cancel. And that is 300 minerals down the drain. 400 minerals, I should say, down the drain for SOS. And look at his income right now. There's just not a lot that he can really produce.
Yeah, and the shield battery does just finish up in time, so that is here to help support as well as energy for that shield overcharge. Solar, he realizes this, he's forced back. This is nice, but again, that kill on the third base was so hurtful.
Yeah, I think he's realized that he didn't manage to get the kill. He's going back to
like, damage.
Yeah, exactly. It's done. I've got what I wanted. I'm out.
Yeah, and once again, we do see a Spire being thrown down behind this. Solar on top of his scouting, just making sure there's nothing too crazy coming out from SOS. SOS trying to retake that third, but it is so delayed. And we'll see how the follow-up goes, because there are going to be mutas in play. Meanwhile, SOS going for this disruptor play that he seems to enjoy. I mean, to be fair, like, disruptors, again, like, they can be very valuable. They can get a lot of value in their shots, but and shoot up.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say they're not the. It does depend a little bit. I mean, getting zoning done is still nice, even if you don't get the purification nose to hit. But yeah, more to the point is they do not shoot up.
Yeah, and there's very minimal anti-air here with this army. It's the sentries and a single stalker.
Yeah, SOS really banking on either Solar not getting Spire or to be able to deal damage before that Spire comes into play. And neither of those are true right now.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's going to be able to push here before the mutalisks come out. There's 7 mutas on the way, though. They've already started. Oh, God. SOS is on a timer right now.
He very much so is. Oh, never mind. Gave up that timer. And with that, we are spared from a PvP finals. Solar going into the finals to face either Zest or Stats.